everyone. This is Sage welcoming you all to the Executive Corner, the Expert Talks 20-minute roundup. And today we have Mr. Matthew Lamont, who is the Managing Director of DUG Limited or DUG Limited. And we bring you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates, all under the one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock markets and help you understand how one can create multiple passive income streams. So in today's show, we're very lucky to have Mr. Matthew Lamont, the Managing Director of DUG Limited. And to give you some background, DUG is a technology company at the forefront of high performance computing, or HPC, with a strong foundation in applied physics. And their innovative hardware and software solutions are for the global technology and resource sectors. So welcome, Matt. Pleasure meeting you.
It's a pleasure to be with you today, Sage.
Lovely. Well, I'm sure the audience is very keen to hear from you with some great news from Yahoo Finance about the growth of your company. Let's get started with the questions. So congratulations on the Curtin University collaboration. How will this partnership between industry and academia help DUG?
Well, they're a big user of high performance computing. They've got a lot of separate groups that are very interested and that have been on our systems. So in a way, this is an announcement of what's been happening for the last 12 months. And we also collaborate on education. We help them with some of the high performance computing education in some of their schools. And of course, Troy and I are alumni of Curtin University. So the ties are very strong with Curtin. And of course, the exciting thing going forwards is looking at renewable energy for powering our high performance computing, which is the next big thing. High performance computing is a huge user of energy, and so using renewable power is very important going forwards.
Absolutely. And I believe you're going to be attending a summit next weekend in Perth, is it, or this weekend coming up, and the Swan Summit of Energy, but we'll talk a bit more about that at the end. DUG and Curtin have co-developed algorithms that can detect and monitor space junk and satellites in Earth orbit. What is in store next?
Yeah, so we've taken our traditional software package, which is sort of a big data and signal processing imaging package, traditionally for looking down in geographic and geological type uses. And now we've introduced galactic coordinate systems, so you can now use it to look up. And as soon as you can start to look up, we start to bring the power of this package that we've developed over many years to bear on it. And it's really good fun. It's really fun seeing how we apply our technology to a new area and the value it can bring. And so that's the future, right? And it's really nice. We're doing that in a couple of areas. There's radio astronomy, where we've done the tracking of the satellites, as well as visualization and other advanced sort of ways to work with the data, as well as being able to slice and dice huge data sets. We're also looking at meteorology and some other areas for traditional software as well.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing your passion on your projects. And with more and more satellites going up in the air, I'm sure the space is evolving and changing dynamically within weeks and months. So
big security concerns as well, of course, Sage.
Absolutely, yes. As green shoots finally re-emerge in the oil and gas sector, and there is a noticeable recovery in the oil price, how does DUG plan to take advantage of this situation?
So we're really well poised to take advantage. Although we've done some cutbacks on staff, we've held on to our key staff throughout the whole last 12 months in the downturn. And yeah, the oil industry is looking great. I think in the first 3 months this year, or 4 months this year, we wrote $40 million worth of proposals and tender responses. And we're starting to see the wins come from that load. So all our business indicators are way up, and yeah, it's recovering really nicely, and it's becoming exciting again.
Fantastic. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I read somewhere that your market capital is approximately $90 million. Is that correct?
Capitalisation, I think we're about 100 million, but
right.
It's not something I follow closely.
Right. So on to the next question. During the first half of financial year 2021, DUG won clients outside the oil and gas industry. How is the industry diversification strategy unfolding currently, please?
It's going really well. Selling HPC is a long cycle, and it's a long sales cycle, because the corollary of a very sticky business where it's difficult, where once you're doing a good job for somebody, it's recurring revenue, it's hard for them to leave, and they need a really good reason to leave. The corollary of that is it takes a long time to sign people on. But look, the signings in McCloud are going really well. The interest in it is overwhelming. There's some good announcements will be coming out, and it's going super well for where we're at. It's interesting that as a company, if you go back 18 months, we're very well known in the oil industry, but we're not known outside. And now we are known. We're now known within defence, within Office of National Intelligence, within CSIRO, within the universities around Australia. And we've done many proof of concepts, and there's lots of exciting stuff happening. So it's actually going very well, and we will see that following through on the revenue in time to come. It is already hitting revenue, but it will start to build up really nicely.
Absolutely. Sounds like you've got a lot of projects there in the pipeline, and I'm keen to hear how they go in the coming months and years. So what are the positive trends? You've touched them a little bit, but could you expand on that suggest that the company's revenue will soon recover to the pre-COVID levels set in the first half of financial year 20, please?
Yeah, well, the oil industry is up, and so we're winning a good amount of work, which is really nice, and we expect that to continue. The precursor to winning work is writing the proposals and the tender responses, and we've had a really big first start to this calendar year in that area, so that's really nice. And if you look at the HPC business, it's a huge business. It's a big business today. 151 billion annually is what it's estimated to be, but it's going to be $1 trillion business before the end of the decade. And if you look at quotes like the one that Andrew Roll put out from Curtin University, and he said all areas of contemporary research require access to advanced computing capabilities such as big data, data science, and HPC. So that's Professor Andrew Roll from Curtin University, and that is Doug. So every area of research, every area of science, and every area of data analytics is our playground, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting times.
Absolutely. It's a very dynamic industry, and we're keen to hear more about what your company is able to do to push it forward. How is the relationship with Imperial College London developing, please?
Really good. So we've had 155 students on our systems, all very successfully. We've supported them. We have helped, and we've done several lectures for them as well. So we've taken part in the actual education of those guys. And Imperial are delighted. Professor Gerard Gorman, who's leading that, is absolutely delighted. And we've now got those students moving on to do their projects, which will all be on our systems as well. And we're also working on enhancing and taking that relationship further forward. And so that's developing really well.
Thank you, Matt. Now, you did mention that the cloud side of your business is going rather well. And could you please provide some insight on the DUG McCloud platform?
Sure. So McCloud was initially it was a way for us to interact with our clients differently. So our service business is literally a turnkey type project business. But our clients also do in-house work, and they also use different people's software and our software. So the idea was to allow us to get much closer to our clients, to interact with our clients. So our clients could come onto the system when they're doing surface projects, and they could do bits and pieces of the project all by themselves. They could use our code, or they could use their code. So that was where it came from, and that created a lot of excitement. And then once we got that underway, and we've got the Equinor is an announced deal there, which is a really big deal. And so all their scientists are now running on a lot of their scientists are running on their system, on our system, using our software. And they've embedded their software into our software using the API. So it's exciting. And that's what we took beyond the oil industry, because it's so much, it's a beautiful model, and it's quite differentiated from the big cloud providers in that it is a focused high performance computing platform. And so if you're an IT group in a company and you go to Azure, then you've got to dictate what you want that machine to look like, what you want the interconnect to look like, what you want the storage, what performance you need. Then you get that machine back and it's a raw machine, and you've got to put on your security systems, your queuing system, you've got to manage all the users, you've got to put on the monitoring systems and so on and so forth to make it into a high performance computer. You can do it, and you can do it very successfully, but it takes a lot of effort and a great deal of know-how and a lot of software that's not available straight off the shelf. When you come to Doug, that is what we do, right? So we're not going to look after your database for your company, but we are going to do all your high performance computing for you, and you don't need any skills. We will make your scientists successful. And it is a really exciting, unique offering, and people are taking advantage. It is long sales cycles. They've got to change their funding models, and things have to happen, but it is happening, and it is a very exciting business to be spearheading.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing the insights on that project. And as the economy's scaling, I think innovations that have lasting impacts are going to be the ones that are in focus. So all the best with that. And I think the government is focusing on expanding the cybersecurity job sector, with much more budget spending focused in that arena too. So definitely bound to see growth in your sector. So on to the next question. What are the growth prospects in the high performance computing HPC segment, in your opinion?
Yeah, they're huge. So as we touched on, it's $1 trillion business by the end of the decade globally. So, our ambitions are not small, and, and I honestly believe that where we end up, the share of that business that we end up with is going to come completely down to how good we are. The opportunities will be presented. The business is there. It is growing exponentially, and we are really good at this, and we'll be going hard to get our share of that business.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your ambition on that one. And on to our last question. How is DUG tackling the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic crisis? Are there any roadblocks owing to the related restrictions at all?
So it's in a way, we were fortunate, because the McCloud platform is a platform that we built to allow people to work remotely on our computers and to interact with our computers and to work very naturally with our computers. So when COVID hit, we had the perfect platform for all of our 300 scientists around the world to stay at home and work from home. So we never missed a beat, because we had the platform for them to all just go and work at home. So we were fortunate in the timing of that. It would have been a little bit more of a challenge had we not done work on the platform. So what we're missing in Doug is it's more around the we've all become very good Zoom users. The scientists can do their work at home very well, but we're missing the social impacts of running a business, and the interactive impacts, and the brainstorming, and the strategy sessions. Now we are doing them Zoom, and that's carried us very well to this point in time. But I think getting people in the UK, for example, back into the office, it's time. It's time for their well-being, to get everyone back in the office, but yeah, in terms of business, it's the impact has not been that great. That it hasn't been a great impact on the business from people working at home, but it has been a big impact on the business because of the oil price slump and the oil price demand slump, but that's coming back now. But in terms of us doing our work and doing our business, not so much.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you were able to pivot and get over the hurdles that COVID caused a lot of businesses. That's actually the end of our show. It was absolutely fabulous to get a chance to talk to you and your projects. And audience out there, if you would like to hear more from DUG, I believe I saw on your website, Matt, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you might be attending the Science on the Swan in 2022 in WA. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll be there on Tuesday. We have people there for the whole show, but I'll be there on Tuesday and very happy to chat to anybody who's there.
Excellent. So this is a forum focused on Health Translation Network's annual Health and Medical Research Conference. So an important space to watch. And all of DUG Limited's work is sounding like it is in a very salient area of renewable energy, of natural resources, a space to watch, a space of great value to us, and a space that's going to be growing in the next few years. And on that note, Matt, would you like to add any closing notes for our discussion today?
Thanks, Sage. Thank you for chatting to me, and thanks everyone out there for their attention. And may I put a little plug in for our blog. If you go to our website, you'll find that we've got a very active blog and it's got a lot of science in there. So you'll see the sort of different areas that we're doing and the people we're working with, as well as some business aspects and so forth. So I would draw your attention to that. And yeah, thanks for your attention today.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Matt. And with that, I'm Sage signing off for today. Please watch this space for more. And as you know, stay apprised and invest wise with 𝐾𝐤𝐴LKINE.